Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Hover.com. Go to gfu.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. FreshBooks. FreshBooks is an easy-to-use online invoicing service that saves you time, gets you paid faster, and makes you look professional. Get started completely for free at freshbooks.com. And by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook by going to audiblepodcast.com/GFQ.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to Tech News Weekly. I'm Andrew Zarian on this Friday the 13th edition of Tech News Weekly. I don't know. It's in one channel, right, guys?
Sounds fine with me.
I don't know, I'm getting
Remember,
channel
Skype
here.
mixes audio and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here, but it is a perfect Friday the 13th. You're having video problems. Our guest is having video problems. Our guest today, first time on the GFQ Network on Tech News Weekly, Chase Nunez. How you doing, Chase?
Yes, sir. I'm good, Andrew. How's it going? How's it going back east
no
there?
special nicknames for you?
My gamer tag is Sir Chaos, SIRCHAOS, on most of everything. So
people can check you out. Yeah, people can check you out at geekgamerradio.com. You do it's much more like a podcasting, like a webcasting network, right?
Yeah, well, we're getting there. We're getting ready to launch here in about a week, geekgamer.tv. Right now, if you just go there, it's just a splash page saying, hey, how would you like to know more? Sign up. But right now, it's just geekgamerradio.com. We discuss the top weekly geek news as well as gaming news, like PlayStation Network, Xbox 360, you name it. We like to talk about gaming. Been doing it in some incarnation for about 6-7 years.
Oh, wow.
And with my buddies Ty Caldwell, Joseph Falvey, John Kessler, and we get a whole bunch of other great guests that come in and drop off on the show. And we have fun. We do it Sunday nights live, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And we get a huge chat room going, and we just have fun and hit record and play for 2 hours or whatever.
That's excellent.
We do it, yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk to you more about that. But before, I want to introduce my co-host, Suncast, is here once again. How you doing, Suncast?
Doing good. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, my birthday falls on Friday the 13th. If I'm a little out of it today, that's because I'm recovering from last night's show party that we had. I got surprised by Spencer Coburn, the host of The Bold Truth, which is on our network, and Adrian Curry stopped by, model, America's Next Top Model, the first winner.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was amazing, and she's a total gamer. That's the funny part. Did you? If Chase probably missed it, but we were talking sexy to each other. I started asking her what server she plays on for WoW. I asked her what level she is. I asked her she's a Death Knight, so I got all that information. So we were really talking sexy.
Oh, giggity.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And everybody's looking at us like we're out of our minds. And I told them, I'm like, we're having a moment here, guys. We're having a moment. Let us have our moment.
You bring her on the show, and all you want to do is talk about games?
Yeah, and then Chauncey asked her to make out my wife, but that didn't. That was a little. He got nutty by the end of the night, but I had a great time, and those guys over there were unbelievable. And I'm really blessed to have a great staff here because we were able to put that together in a matter of 20 minutes. No, about 30 minutes. We put that entire studio together.
Wow.
And Chase knows, being in a controlled environment is much better than having to pull wires up and down and across the ceiling to try to get it to work.
Oh, no idea. We've done a couple of live remotes, set some geeky places, and it takes you longer to set it up sometimes than to actually do the show.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm with you. I hear you.
We're broadcasting live from Blog World in about 2 weeks at the Javits Center here in New York, and we have to pretty much take our entire studio there. Because we don't have special remote hardware, so we have to take the entire studio, set it up, break it down every night, set it up again in the morning.
That's the way to do it. If you really want to do it well, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to, right? I'm complaining because I'm getting gigs, but I shouldn't be complaining. But in the end, you find something to complain about, right?
Yeah.
I want to go straight into this. Google I.O. this week.
Big week for Google I.O.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was looking forward to this for one reason. Now, before I stay without knowing what happened, let's say, it's Monday morning. You don't know what's going to happen at Google I/O. What was the thing you were looking most forward to? I'll start off with Suncast. Suncast, without knowing what happened, what were you looking forward to hearing from Google I/O?
Honestly, I didn't have any expectations whatsoever from Google I/O. It's one of those events where it's developer geared, and you never know exactly what they can announce. We know they've been talking about Chromebooks for a while now. They had that CR48 netbook that they beta tested for a while now, so we were expecting to hear something about that.
Personally, actually, Chase, how about you? What were you hoping to hear about? I mean, were you even looking forward to it?
Well, I was looking forward to hopefully hearing something about Google Wave 2.0, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I liked Google Wave. In all seriousness, I really enjoyed Google Wave. I was using it. I was the only one, but I was using it.
Yeah. Well, it was my wife and I were actually talking about it. She's like, well, whatever happened to Google Wave? And I'm like, well, maybe it was kind of like too much like email. And she's like, well, maybe they should have integrated it with chat somehow, some way. But no, for Google I/O, really, I was wanting to see if they kind of did, what's going to happen with the Google TV, because their first attempt, I think, was just not very good. And so they've already talked about it. And I know you're probably going to talk about where Google TV 3.1, this looks interesting, apps and better little features. That's something that, I was kind of hoping that they would talk about, and they did.
I think Google really, really hit it out of the park in the sense for developers, because they hit you with every angle. The biggest thing, you said it before me, it was Google TV. Everybody knows my opinion on Google TV. When we have Paul Thurrott on here, we just bash Google TV constantly. And we make fun of my wife because she loves the thing. She loves Google TV. It's the greatest thing ever invented. She's blown away by this thing. And I got it. I reviewed it. I said some not so nice things about it. I got a letter from their PR department that wasn't so nice that I addressed on the air. I have this love-hate relationship with it. I've been using it more and more, because I'm trying to cut TV out as much as I can, cable TV. And it's not as bad as, everybody said it was, because you end up falling in love with your captor, and I think it's that kind of relationship. I've been kidnapped by this evil Google TV, and now I'm in love with my Google TV because I don't know better.
You have Stockholm Syndrome.
I do, of Google TV. Stockholm Syndrome.
What do you like about it? I mean, when you first got it, you said you really didn't care for it.
I didn't care for it, no.
There's certain flaws that it wasn't polished enough for you. But over time, it seems like you've really turned into its favor.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I want to... in order to do these reviews, I really think you need to have long-term use of these devices. It's not fair to give this device for 1 hour or 2 hour thing and say, oh, it sucks, and throw it away. You end up starting to like certain features. I like the fact that I have access to a lot of my web shows that I watch, and you don't get that from Xbox.
Well, I picked up a Boxy box when they first came out.
Yeah,
and,
I want that thing. I love that thing, actually.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch Revision 3 content mostly, just because it's so easy to get. And I know Google TV, you could get stuff through there. So I'm really interested to see when they do push out the new software updates, that they do push out the new hardware updates, that it's going to be hopefully doubly.
Well, you could say that.
Two times is better than
we're not the smartest group here.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think it'll definitely be better. The more they work on it, I think it'll definitely get better. But that's just it. It's one of those products where it's the first generation and it has its first generational flaws. But that's just something that comes with the territory when you're doing something that's so different or so never really been done before.
See,
you
now
have those
here's
first
the thing,
generation
though.
issues.
Here's the thing, Suncast. So they're upgrading it to version 3.1. It's gonna have access to the marketplace. It's gonna have a whole spew of improvements. But I'm wondering, is the older hardware, which most people right now that have Google TV, the very small percentage that do, have the Logitech, what is it, the Review?
Yeah, they had the
that's the one
Review,
I
and then there was
Sony
integration with the Vizio and Samsung TVs.
Yeah. What if the hardware is not fast enough on these things? I mean, it's going to require... They're saying it's going to be a lot faster, but maybe part of it is the hardware. So you're just masking a bigger problem with just a little fix, but that might end up causing more of an issue. That's the thing that I'm concerned about with pushing this update 3.1, and we have not seen too much support between the time it came out. I believe that was only one update.
Yep.
That was it, and it wasn't a big update, so we haven't really seen too much support. If it looks like this thing came out, the media hated it, and then they said, well, okay, we're not going to update this till the next big one. There were no little updates. I'm just curious to see how they're going to be able to do this, and if this is going to be the fix.
That's one of the worst things, though, when you get like a Sony Vizio that has the built-in Google, and they push out an update that's so big that, great, I can't upgrade my hardware separately. Now I have to buy a whole new TV. Now, I know Sony loves to hear that. They're like, yeah, go ahead, buy a TV, you know. But that's one of the problems that I have with having everything all in one on a television. The TV itself, you know, high-definition video, that's not going away for years. But the technology where, you know, you get the updates, you get the hardware updates, and you get the software updates, and maybe that TV can't get it because the hardware's so old. Now you got consumers getting pissed off at you, and who are they going to point fingers at? The manufacturer or Google? That's going to be the interesting argument.
Well, the consumers aren't going to understand necessarily that whatever device or whatever TV they have is not compatible with that product.
I mean, look at the cable industry, right? Look at these set-top boxes that the cable companies give you. These are horrible devices. They're extremely underpowered, and the operating system or the UI on these things are horribly sluggish. And we tolerate it, right? We sit back and we say, well, this is what it is. What if the average user just says, this is how it is? They just don't know better.
Well, what are the other choices out there?
Nothing. Well,
there's really no huge choice out there. I mean, it was kind of like the advent of TiVo. When TiVo kind of came out and had the DVRs, that was revolutionary. But I don't think we have a product as revolutionary as TiVo in terms of web TV yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I want to reintroduce Chase here. Chase Nunez from Geek Gamer Radio is hanging out with us today on Tech News Weekly. You can follow him on Twitter at Nunez. And you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you have your website, you have everything going. And your video looks excellent, by the way.
Thank you. I had a makeup artist come in here earlier today.
It looks great.
And so we're looking good now for high def.
So the next big thing that came out was, well, the biggest announcement was the extended lineup of the Chrome OS, or the Chrome, what are they calling them now? The Chromebooks.
That's what they're calling them.
Chromebooks.
We saw two manufacturers, Acer and Samsung, join on board. Now, this is where it gets a little confusing. The Acer was unveiled.
This whole thing is confusing. Me and you had a back and forth with this, trying to understand exactly how this subscription model is going to work and how all this breaks down.
Now, when I first saw, they said, well, they're going to charge $20 a month for educators and $30 a month for business. I said, well, this is great. It's excellent. And then I thought, well, what are the terms of this, lease agreement, I guess? So we found out the base price, it's $349 for the Acer.
And that's the cheaper one.
Yes, and then there's
out of the bunch.
Yeah, there's $349 for the Acer Wi-Fi. The 3G price I do not think is out, and then you have the Samsung, which is $429 and $499. I was all for this thing, and I really wanted to get my hands on it until I saw the $429 price on this device, or the $349. Chase, is it a little less appealing now because it's not going to be that cheap device that everybody thought it was?
Well, this makes me feel like, well, especially with the monthly charges, we don't know the terms, right? We don't know if it's a 2-year.
No, we got them, actually. They came out.
Oh, we do?
Yeah,
okay.
And actually, I was trying to find this thing, and I couldn't find the breakdown of it until, surprisingly, Engadget had a very detailed breakdown of what's going on.
Well, you kind of had to, because if it wasn't for that chart, you do have a hard time understanding exactly the pricing breakdown and how it all works.
Because I couldn't really find it until I went to Engadget. They had this update.
Some of the previous articles were not really explaining the breakdown of how everything is priced, how it's going to work, what the terms are.
So we're looking at it's a 3-year contract for business and education institutions. 3 years, $20 a month, and 3 years, $30 a month. This device is going to cost you over $1,000 when this agreement is finished. But
What?
in return, see, now you're saying, well, what do I get? In return, you're getting support. And that's about it.
Yeah. Well, this makes me feel like, all right, we're going to give you something dirt cheap up front. You're going to pay a monthly charge, and we're going to lock you into a 2 or 3 year agreement.
Yeah.
This really sounds like a cell phone company to me. And the worst thing about it is, you a year down the road or a year and a half down the road, the hardware gets better. I mean, you look at Apple refreshing their iPhones about every year, and so you have people selling off their phones or buying out of contract. The hardware isn't exactly the best in the world.
No, and the software is not the best in the world either.
Right. And so you have that. So you have okay hardware. You have okay software. Well, then again, okay software. You're not going to be able to do much of side loading and that sort of thing. They're trying to tout this as a cloud device, and lately, with the whole Amazon outage and other problems with the cloud in certain aspects, that kind of worries me a bit. Having everything there. So
well,
I'm
they
kind of
do say
on
that
this.
the subscription includes hardware upgrades.
Okay, so what does that mean, the hardware upgrade? See, we don't know what that is. Does that mean
No,
that if
and
hardware
that's just
breaks...
that's all it does. It says that you wait 3 years and then they upgrade it. I think that's how it's going to work. I don't think that it necessarily works in the way that...
But you paid double for the device. So, damn right they're going to update it.
There's two things here. One is that when they were looking at... They were doing focus groups and trying to price things out. They said, well... The way businesses, enterprises, and educational institutions work, they generally don't get new devices very often.
Sure.
Which is how they came up with the 3 year contract. They say, well, they only replace them about every 3 years or so. So that's how we're going to do this contract. Yeah. So that's what they're counting on, is that they're going to replace these laptops in 3 years. So it's kind of a catch-22 in the sense that you pay the premium for the support, which can be good if you're dealing with thousands of netbooks, just to have somebody else deal with it anytime there's an issue with it. If it breaks or something's wrong with it, they just replace it. Yeah. But after 3 years, they'll just go ahead and give you a whole new one.
Yeah. I want to go ahead.
I was going to say, if I was a company, I don't know why I would do this kind of a deal. Right now, the majority of businesses out there, 80, 90%, I don't have hard statistics, but this is just off the top of my head. They are PC-based, Windows platformed businesses.
Oh yeah, we could say in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you if you're a business, you're not going to go out and equip your employees with laptops. They can't even install custom applications. Now I was reading that Google is going to be coming up with some sort of side solution with a Cisco type of a server type thing. But
yeah, didn't they demo that when they were talking about the Chrome OS, how it's going to have it's going to have Exchange support. It's going to have some sort of remote support where you have a server with Windows and you could run the Windows in the server. It's some complicated thing that we're talking about. I forgot what it was exactly.
Yeah, it's some sort of hodgepodge thing, and businesses are not going to really want to have to deal with that. They have their trained system administrators for large businesses and running their own exchange, doing their own thing. Big enterprise type customers. I don't think this is going to be interest of them. They're like, that's great. I want
to
whole
continue
Google
this
laptop thing. I'm just like, it's ho hum to me. It might be nice to play with and be solo with, but for big stuff or 3 year agreement, gosh, I don't even know if I'd do that either. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem appealing.
Today, I want to take a little break and talk about our sponsor, FreshBooks. Online invoicing. Today's show is brought to you by FreshBooks Online Invoicing. If you are a freelancer or the creative type like me, or you're running a small business, the last thing on your mind is to pretty much do invoices. Everybody that watches the show knows how much I single-handedly hate doing the office stuff. That's why I need to hire somebody. But most people cannot hire somebody just to do invoicing or an office manager, and you're a tiny little company. You need some help. Well, FreshBook is a super easy-to-use online invoicing service that takes the pain out of invoicing. It literally saves you time, gets you paid faster, and makes you look professional with these invoices that you're sending. I had an example here, but I just put it somewhere. They mail it out. They can mail it out for you, or they email it in a PDF. And when they view it, it has your logo on there. It has payment methods on there. They really do all the hard work for you. It easily creates an invoice and emails it to your client. They could view it online, save it as a PDF, and pay you right there. or they could pay you with PayPal or 11 different other payment methods, so you get paid a lot faster. The best thing about FreshBooks is that it's completely free. If you go to freshbooks.com and sign up for an account, when you sign up, you mention GFQ when it asks you how you heard about this, because you qualify to win a birthday cake, even if it's at your birthday. Every single week, there's a drawing to win a free birthday cake. I have not received my birthday cake. I'm just saying this, FreshBooks. I did sign up. Well, you know they're not a scam. You know why? Because they could have just easily sent me the birthday cake and said, here, the GFQ promo code. You won the birthday cake. But they didn't do that. I'm sure they sent it to one of our other viewers. And if you do get the birthday cake, please let me know. I'd love to see it. Go to freshbooks.com, sign up, get a free birthday cake when you mention GFQ. That was a lot better, Suncast. I have to pat myself on the back on that one.
Yeah.
I've been Chase. I've been just flying
yeah.
through these live reads because there's so much going on during these shows. It's like a circus sometimes. Like last night's show was such a circus. I just had to fly through it because I couldn't even concentrate on the live read. But
well, at least you're not asking for live testimonials yet.
Live testimonials, yeah. That's what I need to do. A 45-minute infomercial.
That's
Sure.
You know what? This is my only gripe with this. If I would have been willing to pay $10 more a month, let's say, if they had subsidized the 3G plan in this and said, you know what, we'll take a hit on the device. We'll get people to use the Google OS because it's a new OS. Google is so good at hiding the fact that this is a whole new platform. If you notice throughout the entire presentation, they really mentioned that it might be a problem transitioning from Windows to this. You know, when we hear Apple versus PC, right?
This is just the thing is this a time that's right for what they're doing? And is the subscription model that they're doing for educational institutions and businesses actually going to work? It's something that's never really been done before, so we don't know if it's going to take off and work.
You know what? Not for $349.
They're trying. You know, you got to try in order to succeed.
Yes, I think they are trying. I think it does have a model that does make sense. Now, with the hardware upgrades, right? They're saying, well, for $30, it's worth a lot to a company that does not have internal IT, does not have kind of support, where if it was IBM or if it was Microsoft, you pay a lot more for the support. That's their argument here, because for $20 a month, you're getting a computer, and you're not just getting support. You're getting the computer, you're getting the support, and you're getting upgrades, hardware upgrades.
You're getting an IT department.
You're getting an IT department, exactly. Now, for the hardware upgrades, what kind of upgrades are we talking about? Are we talking about
a stick of RAM? You're getting a stick of RAM every 3 years.
Exactly. I mean, what kind of upgrade are we talking about? Are we talking where if I broke my monitor, they would fix it for me? I would just send them a laptop and they give me a new one. Is that the hardware upgrade we're talking about, or are we talking physical upgrades where every 2 to 3 years
that are still left unknown about this? And this is the kind of thing that bugs me, because I've been going over these articles trying to understand every aspect of this, and I'm still having trouble with it. I mean, there's a CNET article that talks about the subscription models between business and institutional, and in one of them they say like business is $28 per month, and that gets you hardware auto updates. But then for the educational ones, they say it's $20 a month, and that gets you hardware upgrades. What's the difference between hardware upgrades and hardware auto updates?
Welcome to the corporate world. This is my background. I came from, I had a retail business, but I was also part of the corporate world.
Two different terms for the same freaking thing.
Yes, but you know what? Yeah. I was looking at this platform where it says $29. And I'm thinking, when I was an IT manager for a very large Japanese company, it would have been a lot easier for me to go to corporate and say, there's this great idea for us to upgrade the machines. All we do is pay $20 a month for the machines, and we're on a 3-year contract, so we pay it every month. They do all the support. You don't have to worry about getting new hardware. If something breaks, they fix everything for you, and after the 3 years, they just upgrade you to a new one. I guarantee you the corporation that I work for would say, let's do it. How many computers? We have 18 computers. I think we have like 48 computers. Well, we have 48 computers. Well, hell, let's toss them all out.
I think in theory it works. I don't know
if it's
really all that practical.
It's not practical because it's not Microsoft.
Well, here's one thing I don't think anybody's talked about yet, and that is we don't have a history or a track record other than the Google Nexus phone that they put out themselves of Google's support and track record history. I heard when Google first launched the Nexus and they sold it on their website, a lot of people were having problems with just basic email support.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, Chase.
Well, Google has not really been known for support, and
Yeah.
that's one of the problems with Google Voice and Sprint. When they recently integrated all this stuff, they had problems with the system, and partly because it was new, and the other part was that there wasn't any Google support line to call and say, hey, I'm having trouble. Is there something wrong? Can you fix this?
Yeah.
And then the other problem was Sprint employees not understanding what the service was.
Yeah, Chase, that's a really good point. I haven't heard anybody bring that argument up, actually.
It would worry me as a business owner if I said, all right, I want to equip 15 of my employees with this new platform, these new laptops, and now I have to trust my company's IT support to a third party that, oh, yeah, we're going to give you great support. We're going to give you hardware upgrades, but there's no history.
Yeah.
And so that would really worry me. That's where, if I'm a business owner, I would sit back and I'd wait maybe a year or maybe 2 years just to see what kind of history develops with Google. If they don't drop it and they stick with it, I mean, who knows? That's a big leap.
Yeah, they're not. The corporate world is a very conservative world when it comes to upgrading their hardware. It's not. I mean, we see it with BlackBerry, right? We constantly talk about it on the show how BlackBerry has been slow to go to that next generation phone because they're so scared of losing that legacy.
Now you're going back to the focus group and why Google chose a 3-year contract. And that's because businesses and educational institutions, run on a slower basis than consumers do in terms of gadget use.
Yeah, but we're still convincing these people. We're still convincing these people to say, leave Microsoft. You don't need it. You don't need Windows. Come to this new platform, which you're so limited and you're crippled to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, you're a business guy. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
If you had to buy new computers every year and a half, isn't that going to be a little costly for you to do
year
and a half?
It is, but there's no office that's changing computers every year and a half. And if they are, they're buying $100 bare bones Dells at a discount in a bulk rate. That's the only way they're going to change it. Every company that I work for has had computers 3 to 5 years old.
Yeah.
I just don't see this working in a company atmosphere. No. It's one of those situations where when you have the majority of your workforce that is trained on a Windows-based PC, and I'm not trying to come off as a fanboy here, but when you have the majority of your workforce trained on that sort of thing, and then you get a whole new operating system, a whole new platform, and a whole new way of doing things, you have the training factor that goes into play here. Not to mention new support for new devices. Oh, gee, am I going to be able to print easily using my existing infrastructure? I mean, some of the basics of stuff, people are not going to want to have to worry about retraining. I just don't see this happening maybe good in a business world. Maybe, a couple personal PCs where you can mess around with. But I don't know. This doesn't seem appealing.
Yeah, this is going to be a topic
more to consumers than it does businesses.
Yeah. This is going to be a topic we're going to constantly go back to because it's very, very interesting. I want to get back to the Google stuff, but I do want to cover some other stories. We're going to bounce back to Google, the music beta also. But I want to talk about this big story. Microsoft's acquisition of Skype, which I did not see happening.
Nobody, I think, saw this happening.
$8.5 billion.
I have a theory.
See, you could have bought Skype.
I could have bought Skype. Chase, we could have pulled our money and bought Skype.
We on the show on Sunday, we had a story talking about the rumor at that time was Facebook, going to be buying Skype.
And that would have made more sense.
Right. I mean, they had the Facebook tab on Skype, the vocal communication. And so my theory is Microsoft's like, no. We're not going to let Facebook beat us this time. We're going to go buy them. Now.
But here's the thing that everybody forgets. Facebook does not have the money to buy this.
That's true.
Facebook, I mean, they have billions, but they do not have $9 billion at their disposal to buy a company which will not generate that kind of money back.
Right.
You're buying it for the technology. You're not buying it for the revenue. Microsoft...
Well, you're also going to get a user base out of this.
You're getting a user base, but you're getting a huge user base. But here's the thing, okay? Microsoft's live platform, their live messaging platform, and I know a lot of people love it, and I've said out of all the video platforms that I've seen, Skype by far is the most superior. But Microsoft Live, their Messenger, is not a bad video service. Their video service is not bad. The problem is the audio, because they still have that delay.
Yeah. With the exception of the U.S., MSN Messenger is huge around the world. I mean, completely huge.
And that's something that I've never really understood why that is. Because to me, it's an inferior product.
It is, but you know what? It's on every machine. It comes with everything.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
It's automatically there, so that's all you use. All right, so now this is the issue with me. Does Microsoft pull a Google and do what they did with Gizmo 5? And say, we're going to integrate this in Live. Everybody's going to move over to Live, and we're going to call it Live. You know, they're going to come up with some new name and then shut everything down.
No, I think you're going to see Microsoft, and they've already said this, that you're going to see them integrated within Xbox Live, Connect, gaming side, mobile platforms, Windows Phone 7 platforms. I think what you're going to see Skype stay the way it is per se with the brand, because that is a very powerful brand, and for Microsoft to screw with it would be suicidal. Yeah. If they screwed with that, not only that they would piss off 125 million users
worldwide.
Worldwide. I don't think it's something that Microsoft wants to do. I think what Microsoft will do is nurture it, give it more support, hopefully improve some of the software, and just work with it with the backing that Microsoft does have in that arena. So
well, they
won't screw it.
They seem to be keeping it intact because the CEO Tony Bates is now the president of operations right under Ballmer. So they are a new Microsoft Skype division opened up. So the CEO now is still running that department.
Yeah.
To me, it does kind of make sense. I think because I think it has a wider application with Microsoft than it does with Facebook. Facebook is more niche than it is compared to Microsoft. Microsoft has all these products and all these services that it can be integrated with, whereas Facebook is Facebook.
Well, somebody on my Twitter said, what's the big deal? Because I said, well, is this a good thing? I might not be happy about it. And they said, well, what's the big deal? Skype has been bought and sold multiple times. Yes, but the reason why it was bought and sold is because nobody owned. When they bought it, they bought the name. They didn't buy the technology. The technology belonged to the original creators. This is the first time that the technology is leaving them. Yeah. That's why it's such a big deal, and that's why you see, an $8.5, a $9 billion deal for a company that doesn't, the revenue model's kind of crappy. I mean, yeah, they have a subscription model, but most of the users, it's a free service.
I think I was reading it was like anywhere from 7 to 8% of their user base is a part of their subscription model. I'm part of that 8%.
Well, that's a big that's a big percentage actually.
So but 92% they're using the free services. For computer-to-computer communication. Skype is also integrating now with televisions.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're going to see that integrating with Connect and Microsoft. I see this as a good move for Microsoft as long as they don't screw it up.
You know what I hope they do, and people hate me when I say this. I hope they add a premium service to the peer-to-peer.
You know what
on top of what they have, they add a premium package where you have more control of what you're doing. You get possibly higher audio bit rate. You get higher video quality.
I don't see them. I can't see them doing that,
but I hope they would do it.
Because if you look at a lot of their other offerings, I think they're looking for this to be more consumer based. In a general sense, and with some maybe enterprise offerings.
Yeah, but can't you see them competing with Cisco systems now that Microsoft is now in the game? They could compete with Cisco. You have a ton. You have to remember.
Tony Bates is a Cisco guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Skype already has premium services. Microsoft has premium services. I mean, you look at their gaming platform, Xbox Live. They have a silver and they have a gold membership. For gold, you get all these added extra features and. Gaming, vocal, ESPN3, Netflix access, all this fun stuff. So you would probably see a premium stuff for Skype. But
Microsoft
see,
I hope it's not going to be like stupid smiley faces for $1.99. No. I hope it's not something stupid like that. What I do hope is because we're seeing Skype being used by mainstream media a lot more.
Skype taken to the next level.
I do. because well, I'm kind of biased in this because we use it for our business, right? Our
We
business
all are.
relies on this. Yeah, your business relies on it.
Yeah.
You know, if I can't put the show on, I can't make money from my sponsors. I have to come up with a different idea, and I have to bring people into the studio. This allows me on a very low budget to pretty much have remote connections to everybody. If Skype were to start competing with Cisco, because Cisco's getting very aggressive in the telecommunications field as far as mainstream media goes. A lot of these, and you're seeing the ads, which is surprising because it's not a consumer ad. The telepresence, yeah. You're seeing these ads, which are pretty much to corporate environments. They're not for you and I to talk to each other. I could see Skype now, Microsoft backing Skype to become a presence to compete with that. At a premium service with the chat, you know, higher quality, more stability.
See, I got it, Andrew. I got it. It's going to be real simple. You're going to have Skype for all the consumers. You know, and they're going to leave it the way it is. You know, the 125 million users, it's going to be the way it is. And then you're going to have Microsoft teleconference using Skype technology. Yeah. And you're going to have the video. You're going to have the audio. Now they have group chat. Now they have all that stuff.
Integrated in remote accessing.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So you're going to see that. I bet you're going to have a Microsoft teleconference package for businesses, and it's going to be great. They might probably fold it into their live meeting technology that is already pretty decent, and they're probably going to roll it into that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What? Give me your opinion, Suncast, please.
No, what I don't want it to happen is I don't want them to, you know, make it into Windows Live Messenger, because I am not a fan of Windows Live Messenger. I don't think it's all that great of a program.
No,
you know,
I don't.
I like Skype. I don't really care for Windows Live Messenger at all. So if
I don't think it's
they
gonna
merge the two together and kill off Skype altogether, that's going to be devastating for me.
And that's what I fear, because what they might do is take Live and just integrate the software, you know, use the technology for Live and keep the Live brand, because they need that MSN umbrella.
So that doesn't make sense for them to have two different programs that do essentially the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we saw AOL, right, in the .com boom. They had ICQ, right? They bought ICQ, and they didn't do anything with it. They just left it there.
Yeah, they're not gonna kill Skype. They would never do that. I think they'll integrate it for their business technologies. They might integrate some of their audio and video communications in Live Messenger, but they'll still keep it separate platforms, because the one thing that they don't want to do is piss off their huge user base in this arena. I don't think that would be a great idea, and they probably won't.
Suncast, go into a story. Why don't you pick a story?
Okay, you're gonna put me on the spot here. Then
I'm putting you on the spot. You're not. Look at this.
Well, one of the interesting stories that I saw happen this week was that Facebook admits to hiring a PR firm to smear Google for all things privacy. User privacy is their big complaint, and that's why they hired a marketing firm to smear Google, which I don't really understand that point.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're both being accused of the same type of things, right?
Exactly. I'm like, how can Facebook on one hand hire a firm to smear Google over user privacy concerns and say, oh yes, we're concerned for the privacy of these users? I don't think Facebook could give a rat's butt about what Google does.
Oh, you don't believe it? Oh, is that what you're saying?
I don't see why
they would do that.
There's nothing in there for Facebook to gain by picking a fight solely based on users' privacy.
Yeah, I don't know why they would attack it. I mean, wouldn't they want to defend what they're doing and pretty much what Google's doing, because they're in the same boat, right? Millions and millions and millions of people are giving their data on a consistent basis to both these services.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they're saying is that they're attacking them on the basis that Google may be improperly using data that they've scraped from Facebook users.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the real reason I think that they're going after Google for this.
Talk about double standards all the way.
I know.
Here.
Exactly.
This is unreal.
I saw this, and I was looking at the calendar, and I was thinking, is this April 1st? Is this No, really? Come on, Facebook. I mean, you have no room to speak here. I mean, coming from the company that goes ahead and changes privacy settings at whim, and then they go, oh, we want to make things more secure, so we're now going to use HTTPS, and we're going to try to be more consumer and user friendly. And while at the same time, they allow third-party applications to basically pilfer everything from your profile. It's just like, come on, Facebook. Really? Really?
I don't know. It's interesting, and we're going to start seeing this privacy stuff come up more and more. And then once the mainstream gets a hold of this, they're going to have a field day with it, especially with the Sony stuff that's been going on, and nobody seems to understand it. I saw a news story, local here in New York. It was a news story. They were talking about it, and they told everybody that Sony has been hacked.
Multiple times.
No, but they didn't say Sony PlayStation. They didn't say the PlayStation Network. They said Sony has been hacked. Millions of people are at risk of having identity theft happen, and they never once mentioned the PlayStation Network. They said Sony Networks.
Well, it's kind of confusing because there's been actually two different attacks as far as I can understand it. One on the PlayStation Network and Curiosity, and one on Sony Online Entertainment itself.
And by the way, PSN Network's still not up.
Yeah. We
got a poll going, by the way, if you guys want to get in on it, of when the network's supposed to come back. I'll let you in on the details later on.
Oh, definitely. I'll come in. I already have my day. I know my day already. I'm going to say June 6th.
June 6th.
Yeah.
But we're breaking it down by time, too, by the way. So, I mean, it's it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, for a service like this to go out, but can you the scary part of it is, we're all making fun of Sony now, saying, oh, how come you can't fix this? But it is an extremely serious thing. Imagine if this had happened to Xbox Live. What the consequences of this would have been. And somebody brought up, I believe it was Tom. Tom brought up the fact that the government bought hundreds of these Sony PlayStation 3s to use in their government institutions because they're supercomputers. Do you remember that story? How they were buying them up and they were using them?
Well, they had them in a star cluster, and then they got rid of the other OS functionality, and kind of screwed that up.
But I mean, this is scary that they were able to access something that possibly would affect them in some way. I don't know the exact logistics of it, but it can, and it's still down. But imagine if this happened to Microsoft, what would have happened? It would have been
you got two things happening with Microsoft right now. Number one, they're ecstatic this is happening.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Come on over, gamers. We love you. We want you over. And then the other side of Microsoft's like, is our network good? Are we good? Like,
well, I believe they sent out
a
press release. They sent out a press release saying, Microsoft on a daily basis looks for updates and looks for tweaks and blah blah blah. It was just like this weird thing saying like, don't worry, Microsoft keeps you safe. But they're saying, well, we do these updates. Well, why are you doing these updates? Because there are holes. Doesn't mean that your OS is better. It just means that you're able to find them. That's pretty much what they were saying.
Well, there was another article today saying that PS3 trade-ins are up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So people getting rid of them.
But is that surprising given the nature of how Sony has handled these data breaches?
Yeah, but I don't know. You know what's interesting? I wonder if it's, and I don't want to sound racist in any way, but is it a Japanese way of doing business where you don't announce anything until you're 100% sure what's going on and you run it by everything? Because their corporate structure is very different than ours. And there are different ways that they follow protocol. I worked for a Japanese company, and I know their protocol was very different than most American companies, and maybe that's Sony's way of operating. I mean, we saw the disaster happen in the earthquake and with the nuclear power plant, and a lot of the details were not coming out like we're used to. I don't blame them that saying, they blundered it and they weren't very specific on what's happening and they've been secretive. I think it's just the way that they're running their corporation. This is their way of practicing business. They hold off on releasing the information until they have some sort of solution, and I don't think they have a solution yet.
No, and that's the worst part about it right now is, maybe in Japan where that culture over there is used to this kind of a scenario where a Japanese company, says, hey, we recognize a problem, we're going to bring things offline and we're going to take care of it. The one thing that they probably maybe are underestimating here is the effect that's happening in the Western world, Europe and in the United States and North America, where users,
Chase is,
Did we lose him?
hang on, we might get him back.
Hello.
Hey, all right, there you go. You're back. You froze for about 5 seconds.
All right. I don't know where I froze at the particular moment, but what I was basically trying to say is, I think Sony is underestimating here what's the user, and that maybe all the users in Japan are okay with this and they can bide some time, but users in North America and Europe and United Kingdom, they're going to be impatient, and they're already going over to Xbox 360 because they want to game with their friends. They want to watch movies. They want to do that kind of content. With the PlayStation Network, then they can't.
Yeah.
Well, look at it. If you're a big gamer, you're addicted to games.
You're not going
to sit around and wait for them to fix this. Wait weeks on end. I mean, it's already been weeks. Are you really going to be waiting around for them to go ahead and fix all this? No, you're not.
Yeah.
No.
I want to go into one more story before we do our picks of the week, but I do want to talk about our sponsor, Hover.com. Domain names made simple. A lot of us are used to going to one of those other guys and, constantly being bombarded with the upsell and the messages and the email blasts and a very confusing setup. But with Hover, you don't have to deal with that. It's a very easy interface, very simple to use. Very self-explanatory, and I think I could buy a domain in under 15 seconds. I've done the demo on the air, and it's been unbelievable how fast you're able to buy these domains.
It's crazy.
Insane. You get private registration included in the price, in the deal. A lot of the things are included, which a lot of other people don't include, and you get 10% off. That's the best part of it. If you go to gfq.hover.com, you get 10% off your entire purchase, or you could use promo code GFQ upon checkout. Another thing that they're offering is their concierge service when it comes to domain transfers. Whether you have one domain or 100 domains, it doesn't matter. If you call them up, somebody will pick up. They're always friendly. They're in Canada. There's no hold time. Somebody will pick up, and they'll say, what do you need? And you let them know, and they'll transfer the website for you instantly. It might be because they're Canadian and they're happy over there, unlike us here. I think it might be.
I got a lot of Canadian friends. I'm about 2 hours from Vancouver, BC, and so I would agree with that comment.
Yeah, very very friendly. Hey, what's going on? Do you need anything? All right, let's do it. They told me a funny story about how people call them thinking they're Hoover vacuums, and they'll help them out, and they won't say you got the wrong number until they helped them out. They found what they needed. They gave them the customer support number and said, "Listen, by the way, we're not Hoover, we're Hover." That's how friendly these people are. So you could go and transfer the domain. They'll do all the legwork for you. All you got to pay is that $10 fee for the year of service, and you get 10% off, so you save $1 on that. Go to gfq.hover.com, get 10% off. Domain names made simple, Hover. So let's go into this Google Music stuff, huh? Because this is, I guess, an iTunes competitor, right?
Well, that's what they're kind of making it out to be, but it's never really going to be an iTunes competitor the way it is.
Yeah.
Now,
not right now.
There was something weird with it when I read it. There's no licensing yet.
And that's exactly why they can't compete with iTunes now, is that because they don't have any licensing with any of the record labels out there, they're not able to sell songs like iTunes and Amazon do. Google Music Beta is most like Amazon Cloud Player, but the difference is that Amazon can still sell songs, and that's the big difference there. Is being able to sell songs to consumers who are listening to something or searching for something.
I don't know how well this is going to work because Chase probably knows about the Google Listen service, which is for podcasts,
right?
And the horribleness of this the service for podcasts because there's no way to submit it. You got to somehow trick the system into submitting your podcast, and then you got to get it on there. It's a very confusing layout. It's not good at all. And I hope it doesn't fall under that same type of confusion that we've seen. But can Google compete with an iTunes? I mean, do you think they're going to be able to? Because Apple, for what it is this hip, young, they're not young, but it's this young audience, young market type hip audience that gets it. And they know that it's a song platforms and they have a whole division for marketing the music and doing these deals. Is Google going to be able to do this?
Well, never underestimate the power of the Google.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I think they kind of went about it a backwards kind of way. I mean, first off, you have Apple. They kicked off iTunes, and everything's there now, and everybody's there. But the problem is the record industry, they don't have much leverage anymore because it's iTunes, right? So they go over to Amazon, and they make the deal with Amazon, and Amazon offers a little bit of a lower price. It's unrestricted. You can put it on any device you want, 99 cents. They're even offering songs that are like 69 cents, really cheap stuff. And then then they introduced the cloud player, right? So now you have Google, and Google's doing the same thing, but they're doing it backwards. They're starting their cloud player service first.
Yeah,
you have to upload your own stuff, and they don't have any agreements in place. That's the problem. And so I don't know, you start off by maybe pissing off the record industry because, the record industry isn't exactly happy with Amazon's cloud player service right now.
And for what reason? I forgot. What reason are they unhappy with it?
Well, the reason why they're not happy is because they feel that, we should be getting a cut of that song that user's uploading. We have no idea if that user pirated that song.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it kind of like a radio model where you don't really own the rights to that song. That's not your song. And obviously the record company wants to get you both ways.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see if the record industry is going to even go after Google in this regard with having an online storage. But, as Amazon said, hey, we're just giving users space to place their music or any other files, and they can play it. What's the problem? And it's just like a hard drive on your system. What's the big deal?
Well, one of the downsides to something like this and Amazon Cloud Player is that you still have to upload your library.
Yeah.
So if you have like 60 gigabytes of MP3s you want to upload, well, that's 60 gigabytes of your bandwidth that you have to upload. And that's going to take a while. Plus, if you have a service provider such as Comcast or Time Warner that has bandwidth caps, if you have like a 150 data bandwidth cap, well, you're using you're almost a third of what you are allotted already.
Don't even get me started on caps. Please don't.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. FiOS.
I have FiOS here. We have 2 FiOS lines and 1 backup Verizon DSL line. I have a 40 by 40 megabit, and I have, I believe it's 2525 for the second line, and no caps. They called me once to make sure everything was okay because they couldn't believe the amount of upload. I forgot what it was, and I spoke about it a couple months ago. The rep called, they called, and I didn't answer because I thought it was like telemarketing. And they finally left a message that said, we're concerned with what's going on. We want to make sure everything is okay on your end. And I called them, and they said, well, the amount of uploading is ridiculous. I mean, what's going on? I said, well, we do a web network. They go, okay, well, that answers it. No problem. We're going to put it in the notes. Don't worry about it.
I'm surprised they didn't just terminate you outright.
No, they don't do that. They don't do that because they know what's going on. They're very pro. They're not pro what I'm doing, but they understand that the caps really don't work as far as now, especially for FiOS. But because they have the bandwidth for FiOS.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're where I live. We were Verizon, Frontier, and 13 Westerns. Our Verizon sold off their infrastructure in 13 Western states, including my state, Washington State. So I still have fiber. It's now Frontier FiOS instead of Verizon FiOS. But same thing. I have 2525. I think I push more upload bandwidth than I do download bandwidth. And you're right. No caps, no problems, no issues. I think that's the way to go, and you're really lucky to have FiOS out there. I know that Verizon's got that big contract with the city of New York and pushing that out there.
Well, that was fascinating how they had that contract happen because they were saying, well, the contract's not going to happen. They're not coming into New York. And they signed a deal on a Friday. By Monday, you could order FiOS. That's how it happened. And I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. They ran those lines really fast.
I want FiOS.
You know what's interesting? And I was doing the math. For Stickam, our Stickam feed alone, we do 1 megabit a second, 1.1 megabit a second upload for the feed. We also do 650K for Justin. We do 428 for Ustream, and we do, I think, 326 for Livestream, and then we have, the 64-bit audio. So if you add that up, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's crazy amounts of upload we're doing.
But that's the cost of content creation,
Yeah, but if you tried, but you know what they could turn around and do? Well, you're a business now. You're not residential. You got to pay
Yeah.
$200
That's the
a
scary
month
part.
for each. That's what they could possibly do. But so far, so good, right? I'm pretty happy with them. Why don't we do our picks of the week, guys?
Okay.
All right.
I guess I will go first, but I really screwed this up, and I'll tell you why. My pick, I didn't realize it till now, is giving away my phone number. So I don't even think I could show it. But it's an iPad pick. I realize it right when I opened it now. It's called GV Connect. So for the iPad, there's no Google Voice app. They have an iPod, an iPhone or an iPod Touch app, but they don't have they don't have an iPad app. So this is the iPad app for Google Voice. So let me see if I can pull up a video here. Trace, you have an iPad or no?
Yes, I do. I got an iPad 1. Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Well, I bought the iPad 1 used when everybody was trying to sell off their iPads to get the iPad 2. I like it. I mean, it's a great consumption device. I use it a lot, and it works great. But yeah, it's an iPad. I don't do much of my typing stuff on it. That's what my keyboard and computer's for. But I like it. It's fun.
I'm trying to find something where I could hide my number on this, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Okay, so here we go. So here's the interface. Let me go to camera 4. It's very self-explanatory, very Google-ish. So let's say I want to type a text message. I could do my SMS messaging. I can make the phone calls, and it'll ring from my phone. It's very, very similar to the Google Voice layout, but it's a separate application because Google Voice is still not on this. It's called GV Connect. I think it was $1.99 or $2.99 for the app, but it's very useful, especially for someone that does a lot of call management with Google Voice. Google Voice pretty much runs my life at this point. I don't know what I would do without
the
it.
Google Voice web app or the web page not load on the iPad?
It does, but I kind of like this a little bit better. Let me go to the Google Voice app and let me see what that looks like. To be honest, I don't remember it, but I remember it worked. Well, actually, you know what? It's not in. I'm at the Google app, and where it takes you to all the sites, and Voice is not there. Huh. That's interesting. I always thought Voice was here because I've accessed Voice before, but I guess not. Maybe it's out. But I'm sure the web app works. But this is if you don't want to deal with the web app and you want its own application, this is a pretty cool application. All your voicemails are there, so you can just play it. It constantly updates. You can make the phone calls. The settings are very advanced settings.
So you can actually make calls from that application with your iPad.
Well, what it does with Google Voice, you make a call and you set it up so your outgoing calls will be dialing from your cell phone or your Skype number. You could set it up like that. It doesn't dial out because Google Voice still doesn't allow you to dial out like that. Google Talk does, but not Google Voice. I'm right on that, right? Yeah, Google Voice, you can't make phone calls yet. I think this is the big problem. They need to integrate this, right? Google Voice, in reality, should be integrated in Google Talk.
Well, of course. And that's what the hopes was when they bought Gizmo 5.
I mean, Chase, what do you think? Why the delay in this?
Well, I think, remember when they did that Google Buzz thing and they integrated it with Gmail and they got a lot of brushback. A lot of people were pissed off that it was all right there. And right now that you still have the Google Chat there within the Gmail, page and stuff. I think when that situation occurred, it kind of made Google kind of slow down a little bit and maybe not be so quick to combine existing services and combine them. I think they're trading a little bit lighter in that regard and playing it safe.
Yeah. So that was my pick. Senkas, you go next.
All right. Well, I have a unique service here that's called unsubscribe.com. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. It allows you to safely unsubscribe from any mailing list. Unsubscribe is a powerful service that finally addresses all that annoying problem of getting rid of unwanted mailing lists. Like if you got a lot of spam email, or if you even subscribe to a few mailing lists or services that somehow said, all right, well, we're going to spam you anyway. Well, this is a service that easily allows you to get rid of those unwanted emails. It comes in the form of an extension and a plugin for certain programs. Let me see, give you a rundown. It works with BlackBerry, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, Outlook, Apple Mail, Thunderbird. I think I said Outlook, right?
Yeah.
Works with all of those. and you usually just get a little button or a context menu with a link to it. Basically, you select your email and you click unsubscribe, and it handles the rest. It's so easy and so safe. It doesn't not only block you from receiving those emails, it actually goes to those websites, figures out how to unsubscribe to them, and unsubscribes you and removes your information from that database. Because a lot of times, you'll get an email, but it's so complicated and frustrating to find where to unsubscribe or how to unsubscribe, or they don't even tell you how to unsubscribe. That's what I love about unsubscribe.com. It makes it very simple to get rid of unwanted spam emails. They basically call it bacon, kind of like spam, but bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon is like email you kind of want but don't want. So
Yeah,
just go to
actually
unsubscribe.com to find out more information.
It's funny. My old boss uses this, and I had no idea what it was. He was talking about unsubscribe, and I thought he was crazy because he doesn't know anything about computers. So I honestly thought the man was going crazy when he was telling me about unsubscribe.com. He's like, I'm using unsubscribe.com. I had no idea. So one is free, and then they have a monthly, and then they have an annual and a lifetime membership. So
honestly, if you're dealing with an inordinate amount of spam, or you just want the ease of getting rid of spam emails, this is a good service. I've had a lot of spam email lately, and this would be a lifesaver because it's so frustrating when you get an email and you go through the option of trying to find out, all right, well, how do you unsubscribe? You unsubscribe, and then you still get the freaking email.
Yeah. That's a good pick, Suncast. I'm going to look into this. Chase, what's your pick?
All right, my pick is an iPhone app. It's also available on other platforms, and I'll be talking about the iPhone app. It's an app called Cycle Meter, all one word. Find it on the App Store. I just recently got back into cycling. First time in 15 years. My wife and I went and bought some bicycles, and we started doing all these great, lovely trails here in Washington State and places to go. So I'll show it off here. Hopefully this shows up on camera pretty well. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's working.
But basically what the app does is it uses your GPS, and it integrates in with Facebook, Twitter, also Daily Mile, which is a fitness tracking website. And so what you do is you hit start, and it starts mapping you out as you're going down the trail. But the cool thing is it also supports hiking, it supports mountain biking, skiing, whole wide variety of activities. But the real secret sauce of this is it will generate as you go through your route. It will generate, doesn't show up, but it will generate a Google map that you can share with your friends. It puts little mile markers along the way. If you're wearing headphones or wireless Bluetooth headphones while you're cycling, you can actually, if your friends could tweet to you and respond to you on Facebook, and it will speak the replies to you in your ears. So I had one of my buddies basically give me a hard time about it as I was writing, which was kind of funny and keeps you motivated. I think it's $4.99 on the App Store, but well worth it. How it integrates, tracks, tells you your best time over your previous cycle. It's really, really cool. I recommend it if you're cycling, hiking, biking, skiing, fishing, or maybe not.
I've started running. I've been trying to get back into shape, but I started running a lot. Does it work well with that?
Yeah, it also handles runs and walks as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
I used it. I was getting my car worked on, doing some AV work done on it. So I was kind of dead in the water for a couple hours. So I walked around a few blocks of this area where I was, and it tracked that, told me my average speed, mapped it. The whole 9 yards. It's a great little app and very powerful and really cool.
Awesome, Chase. Again, people should check out your website, geekgamerradio.com. What days are you live?
We are live Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time. But we have all of our previous shows on the website, geekgamerradio.com. We're also listed on iTunes. We have a separate video and audio feed. We're on the Zune Marketplace, so you can use your Zune. Or Windows Phone 7, and talking about Google Listen and how they make it hard to get your stuff into your Google Android device. If you just head over to our website, we actually have 2 links set up with our RSS feeds, and if you know a little bit about Google and Android, it'll ask you for an RSS address. You can just pop it in your Google Listen app and find it. We're getting ready to launch something really, really cool, and I want to tell everybody here on your network. in about a month. We're about we're a little bit off, but right now. But geekgamer.tv is going to be launching soon. We're going to be completely refreshing the website. We're going to have great new content. Our web designer, his name is Ty Caldwell. He's out of San Diego, California, is doing a complete redesign, and we look forward to doing that soon. So if you want to be notified when our site goes live, if you go to geekgamer.tv now, you can sign up for a notification when we go live. But right now, we're just using geekgamerradio.com. But thanks for having me on the show. I'd love to be back, and you guys rock.
Anytime. And we'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody.